so you've been thinking about starting a small business and now you're ready to get started, but are you actually prepared and do you know what's going to go into it? So, hi, I'm Daisha. I am a creator who started off on Instagram showing bookish content, and then it transitioned to me selling things that I talked about on my Instagram. On this YouTube channel, I love to talk about my process, all about small business, Etsy, behind the scenes, packing orders. So if those things interest you, then come along with me. So today I'm actually going to be doing like a mini reset of my office. But as I do, I'm going to take you along and just talk about things that I feel like are very important when you're trying to start a business, especially a product based business. Things that I would do and things that I think you should know. Just a little bit about me before we get started. I started my Etsy shop in April of 2025. So we're going on 9 months now. And I feel like I've learned a lot along the way. And as somebody who is very type A, very perfectionist, it's been hard to have to learn some of the things along the way. But I feel like this will be a good little list for you. So come along with me. I have some packages that came in. So I'm going to like put those up. I'm going to look at bookmark inventory and just take you along as I tidy up. And we'll get into the first thing. And I think that is the first thing you need to think about before you start your business is what are you going to sell?
So the most obvious step is you need to figure out what you're going to sell. But I think when people start thinking about having a small business or creating another income for themselves, they might not be thinking about what it is they're going to produce. It's just loving the idea of having that freedom. Maybe freedom from your 9 to 5, freedom for more flexibility with your time, being your own boss. All of these things are very enticing and you want that. But you also have to figure out where are you going to start? Like I said earlier, I started in the bookish niche, and at the beginning, I was not planning on making a small business at all. I just wanted a place to be able to share my thoughts on books and connect with other people. And I was also an annotator. So, annotation is just me marking up my books as I go through them. And I would make things for me and little kits, and people were interested in what I had. And then my idea grew from there on wanting to make this into a business. However, when you're picking your product, you have to keep some things in mind. There are some niches that are very saturated, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get into those. Not saying you can't, but you have to figure out what are you going to do to stand out from everybody else? What are you going to do to make yourself different? What are you going to do to make people buy from you? So luckily for me, my niche is very small. There's not a lot of people that are into the space of annotating. Not that there's not interest, which is also another important part, but there aren't a lot of people who are making things specifically for annotation. And that's the thing that kind of sets me apart from other small bookish businesses because my other things in my shop don't sell as well. And that's because they can get it elsewhere, but they're coming to me for annotation. So just trying to figure out what it is that makes your idea special or what's going to bring them to you. So for instance, making a t-shirt, anybody can do that, right? What are you going to do with put on your t-shirt that's going to be specific to a certain audience that makes them want to buy it? Okay. So you have to have a vision. And I'm not going to lie to you, you have to almost become obsessed with this process. When I first started out, I was obsessed with materials and making sure it was high quality. I wanted the highest quality bookmark that I could produce. I was so obsessed with this process. And I truly think that's what helped me to be successful and put out a product that I'm proud of. And that's because I was willing to put in the time it took to test and test. The research and development phase was in high swing. With that being said, you just have to make sure that your product is something that is of value that you can put out that you're going to be proud of. Okay. I also think you have, like I said earlier, the demand for the product and interest because I've made things that I'm very proud of. They're high quality, they're cute. However, I don't think there was demand for those things, and that's why they didn't sell. So, paying attention to trends, what's working for you, what's not. But of course, you have to just get started for that to happen, right? So, in my opinion, I would start small, have a couple of things, post them, get feedback, go from there. Remember, you don't have to have this full shop right away. When I started, I had 4 annotation options: general, romance, fantasy, and thriller. No, I didn't have thriller. Maybe instead of thriller, I had dark romance or something. It doesn't matter. But after those started doing well, I added more genres. I added thriller and horror. I added romantasy. So as I grew confidence, I went back and added more. When I first started, I only had 4 annotated books. Now I'm up to like 20, and I want to add more. It's just about the timepiece. So just remember that you don't have to have it all figured out at once. You can add to it. Obviously, try to get it as best as you can before you ship it out to a customer, but also just getting started is better than never starting at all. Another thing that I think is really good when you're starting a business, and I would highly recommend you take time in, and that is social media. I know it's like this beast, and a lot of people just don't like social media, but hear me out. When I started out, that's where all my sales came from, and it was from having this community that I built up, people wanting to support me and wanting to buy from me. I would genuinely find the community of whatever you're making and post geared towards them, but don't just make it about a shop. Like, I would not just make a page just for your shop, but I would make it a professional brand. So, for instance, Books with Desh is what I have, and I post book reviews. I talk about things related to annotation. I have a free guide that I made for people to be able to learn about annotation, and then I talk about my annotated books and my annotation kits. So let's say that you have a dog business and you make dog treats. Obviously, you probably have a dog. I don't think you would just make dog treats and not have a dog. Show your dog, your dog doing funny things, your dog eating the treats, you and your dog going for a walk. You can take in different trends that are happening and feature your dog. So I wouldn't just post anything on there, right? But things that are still related to your business without overly being salesy, because people are going to follow you if they're dog people, especially if you have things that are specific to a certain dog breed. People are going to eat that up. Okay. I've seen a lot of my local businesses do this, like the local coffee shop, things like that, where they've been posting like funny, engaging videos that people, want to share because, like, it's like, oh, this is my coffee shop. This is my favorite. And they made this funny video. It's very niche to that audience. So I think it's important to remember you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? Because not everybody cares about, the coffee that you drink or your dog or even my books. However, when you find that audience of people that actually care what you have, that relationship's going to grow stronger versus if you're talking to everyone. So I know social media can be daunting because it's like, what do I post? How often do I post? I have a video where I talk more about like the editing, filming, what to do process. So I can link that. However, I would schedule out a time just like you schedule when you're going to go to work, you schedule out when you're going to go to the gym. Schedule out when you're going to edit and when you're going to film. I don't know why I keep saying this backwards, but so like I try to film on Saturdays because I do have a regular 9 to 5, and I know Saturday is usually like pretty free, and I can just get in here and film. And then Sundays, I like to edit. So even this week, for instance, I filmed and edited on Sunday, and I hated it. I'm very much a creature of habit. So finding your routine of when you can make it work and batch your material. So what I mean by batch, go ahead and film multiple things while you have your setup. So for me, I have like a microphone, I have lighting. Getting all that stuff set up takes time. So if I go ahead and film a couple videos at a time, I'm ahead and I didn't waste time having to set up and take down. So we've talked about making a product and we've talked about social media. The number one thing, and this is actually my word for the year, that I think is going to make you successful or not successful is your consistency. You can't do this one time and think it's going to be success. You can't do this 2 times and think it's going to be successful. Your consistency, your growth, the things you're trying to see are only going to manifest if you are doing these things consistently. I didn't, grow my following from posting 1, 2 videos. You know what I mean? Like, you have to keep showing up even when it's hard. Like for YouTube, for instance, I'll get vulnerable for a second. This has been the hardest thing for me because I'm so used to short form and instant gratification and seeing those views total up and those followers total up. And YouTube is such a different beast. It takes longer to edit, to film. It takes longer to post, it takes longer for traction. So I have, gotten in my feelings and been down about that because I'm like, it's so hard. And I think it's so easy to just give up. But I made a commitment to myself of what I was going to do, and that's post a video every single Wednesday for 12 weeks because I'm doing the 12-week year. So I'll probably extend it after that. But that's my commitment to myself right now. And I'm consistently still showing up, whether it's just a couple of views or whatever it is. I'm still putting myself out there and making myself do it because I made a promise to myself. So through consistency, I'm hoping to start gaining traction. And that's hard in the beginning, especially when you're having to be your own cheerleader and just kind of hyping yourself up and making yourself do this. And it's like, wow, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Keep showing up because eventually it's going to have to pay off. That's the way I see it. Um, yeah, so I can definitely relate to that. And that kind of leads into my next point of just progress over perfection. I was actually watching a video earlier and someone was talking about how comparison is the thief of joy. And I was just thinking about some people that I've kind of compared myself to before in the past. And I try not to do that. When I find myself thinking, wow, must be nice, or oh, look at her, I try to say, whoa, hold on, because it's not about her. Like right now, you're projecting your feelings. You're happy for her because you're happy that she's been successful. You are not a hater. However, you can still be upset that it hasn't happened for you yet, but you don't have to tear her down. And I have to do that, every so often because it can be hard. But anyway, so I know this is cliche, but it's true. So anyway, I was listening to this video of the girl saying that. And then the next video I watched was actually a girl that she's been posting like videos of her working in her small bookish business. And I'm like, man, I wish that was me. Like she's doing so well. And today in her video, do you know what she said? She said they just had the 6-year anniversary of her shop being opened. And then it occurred to me that I'm 9 or 10 months into this journey. She's 6 years into this journey. Think about all the time and dedication she had to put in to get to this point. And that just reminded me you cannot just see somebody and be like, man, I want that right now. You have to put in the work too. So I was just really happy that I got both of those messages this morning, literally back to back as I was filming this video, because you're going to see people that, are doing better than you, that are having more sales than you, more views than you. However, you don't know what part of their journey that they're in. And even if they did just start, some people get lucky. Some people have a video go viral super quick and then, you're on the up and up. But just remember that's not everybody's journey and that is okay. And, be kind to yourself. So definitely needed that this morning. All right, I don't care who you are, you're going to have problems that are going to come up as you're on this journey. Okay, you're going to have things that don't go right. You're going to have things that are out of your control. You're going to have times when somebody orders something and you might not be prepared. So, just a couple of instances, like I've had somebody reach out to me and she's like, hey, I have a book club. I want to order, I think, 16 kits. And they wanted like mostly pink and purple. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's so cool. So I made the bookmark and stuff after she ordered it. And then it occurred to me that I did not have enough pink and purple pins. Like I had everything else, but I wasn't thinking about that part when she told me. So I was like, oh crap. So then I got on and tried to order them really quick because as a small business and as someone just starting out, I don't have a whole lot of one color. Like I might have 10 pink pins, but I didn't have enough for this whole order. Anyways, so now I'm stressed out because I'm having to wait for them to be delivered. They're supposed to get here, say it was on Monday. They're supposed to get here on Monday, and I needed to ship it Monday. But then I also had something going on at my job. So I told my husband if he would get the pins right when they came out, I had everything set up for him. All he had to do is slide the pin in. Then the pins don't come on time. They actually get pushed back till tomorrow. And it's like, man, basically you can do the best you can, but something is still going to go wrong. Obviously with that now I'm much more careful before I tell, like, hey, yes, I can do this. I make sure I can actually do it. I actually made a note during the restock today to order some more pink, purple, and blue pens because I am running low. But just know things are going to come up and it's not going to be ideal. Another thing, you're going to have people telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing during this journey. And of course, you can listen to them, especially if there's somebody that's knowledgeable. But just remember that one, not everybody knows your journey or where you are. And not everybody has your vision in mind. So keep that in mind when you're taking people's advice. So when your father in law stops you, not my father in law, just by the way, but just for in general, if somebody stops you, like your father in law, and tries like, hey, you should get into blah, 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 you don't have to be rude to him, but you also don't have to listen to him. So I told a story not too long ago. Like if I had listened to people that didn't understand what I was talking about when I said, oh, I'm going to sell my annotated books. If I didn't start that, I wouldn't be here. If I had listened to those voices, I wouldn't be here. And luckily I was just like, well, I'm just going to try it out and see what happens. And I mean, if it doesn't go, it doesn't go. And then my obsession kind of grew from there. But I think the important thing is just to remember that everybody has an opinion and you don't have to listen to everybody's opinion. Something else you have to think of is choosing where you want to sell. So I started my journey on Etsy. I just knew like Etsy's a search engine. It was going to help drive traffic. People are already there. It just made the most sense for me at this time of my journey. And then recently I've started selling on TikTok Shop, which is very new. And I will circle back to a story about that in a second. But there's also Shopify where you can build your own site. So just doing some research. I know I keep talking about research and figuring out what's best for you at this moment is just the best thing that you can do for yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you and what you think is going to work. Of course, you can do research and weigh your pros and cons and go from there. Back to TikTok Shop. The other day, I was like, I've listed products and I accidentally clicked on the shopping bag that shows where my products are listed on TikTok instead of like my videos. And it said one of my products was a hot product because it had sold twice. I'm like, I haven't sold anything. What are you talking about? Come to find out, I had made two sales like 4 days earlier and I got no notification of that. So, going back to problems that arise, I freaked out because I always get orders out very quickly. Like if you order something, especially if it's an annotation kit, you order on Wednesday, I'm shipping it on Thursday. So I was so stressed out that this order had been sitting there that I didn't even know about. And it was my first order too. So luckily I reached out to the lady that ordered it. I don't know why I called her a lady. That was kind of weird. Anyways, I reached out to her and I said, hi, thank you so much for being my first order on TikTok Shop. I'm new to this. I did not get a notification that you had ordered. Luckily, it wasn't late because it just had to be shipped by the day that I saw it. So thankfully, I saw it that day. But just letting her know, like, it is on its way. I just did not see it. And I just let her know I was throwing in some more bookish goodies. And she messaged me back and everything was fine. So also just kind of admitting when something goes wrong, like even though that was not my fault, technically, I didn't realize I didn't have the TikTok Shop app. I just thought TikTok told you about your orders like within TikTok. So that part is my fault. However, just owning up when something goes wrong and just trying to make it right. So yeah, she wasn't mad at all. Shipped her some extra goodies. It got out that day and everything was fine. So, like I said, problems will arise. Just embracing it, and just doing the best you can. So, I hope this resonated with you. If you're thinking about starting a small business, I hope this inspired you and gave you some just different insight on some things that you could, be doing for your shop. And also, if you loved watching me do this mini restock of my small business, I am running low, or actually I'm out of one of the sticker papers. So I was just like, let me do some other things while I'm waiting for this to come in, I think tomorrow. And what better way than just take you along with me? So thank you for always hanging out with me. If you want more videos like this, please like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you want to see, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.